Hello and welcome to Video Game Hangover. I'm Randy Dickinson and I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Hey, I'm DJ Ross. I am in Mountain View, California.
On every episode of Video Game Hangover, we talk about the games that have been keeping us up at night. This week, that list is pretty much exclusively just Slay the Spire II.
Oh, that
Plus,
came
we
out.
are checking. It did, yeah. We are checking in on Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, and we will have an update on DJ's exploration with the Virtual Boy.
You still playing Dragon Quest VII? How long is that game? What's the deal?
I am 17 hours in, and I think it's conservatively an 80-hour game.
No, that sounds about right.
Yep. So I'm about a quarter of the way.
All right. Now I am just messing with you. I know it's a long game.
I've played a lot more of it now than I did the 3DS version back in the day. So
Yeah. That's good. Right?
Yeah. I'm super into it. It had actually been difficult to want to stop playing Dragon Quest so I could play Slay the Spire, which I didn't think was going to happen, honestly, because I'm having such a good time playing Dragon Quest. So,
well, you're playing both those on your Steam Deck, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, so you should have gotten Dragon Quest on the Switch, then you could, double fist it or whatever.
I wasn't thinking this through, clearly. Yeah, I just got to buy another Steam Deck.
Yeah, that's the obvious solution.
Except you can't buy them right now. That's
clearly
hard to come by.
What you need to do is just have a second Steam Deck.
Yeah, just one for my other hand.
When are they going to do like the Steam Deck Mini? When are they going to roll out the rest of the Steam Deck fleet? Because Nintendo's got the mini Switch, or at least it had the mini Switch, so they'll probably do a Switch 2 Mini at some point.
The new Steam Deck XL.
Don't make it any bigger. It's a smaller one.
It's like a sheet tray. It's just this monster.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a 32-inch television with two handles.
I mean, we've all seen those. I forget if it was like ROG or whoever with those tablets. It's basically just a laptop screen that they've torn the keyboard off of and put Joy-Cons on either side of, but it's like, This is like, nobody's buying this.
Yeah, there was one, I think I sent it to you. This is a year ago now at CES. They showed it off, and if it was...
No, this is the one I'm talking about. It's like, you see it and it looks like a joke. Because it's just, it's like it looks like he's just holding a skateboard with a screen in the middle.
It was Acer that made it. It's Acer Nitro Blaze. Google it. Listeners, because it is basically a 12-inch TV screen with tiny little handles on it.
It's dumb.
Yep. And there's a sizzle photo of a young urban gentleman like at a party playing it, or something, like leaning against the bar with it in his hand, and I'm like, come on. Nobody's taking this thing out of the house. It's too big for
less
airplanes.
plausible than the rooftop party. It's just like, yeah, let me pull out my 17-inch handheld in a bar.
Yeah.
And I'll just play some like Plants vs. Zombies or whatever.
Yeah. No, I don't need do I want a smaller? I do want like I miss the Switch. What's the small Switch?
The Lite. Sorry, not the Mini, the Switch Lite.
Yeah, I liked the Switch Lite. I primarily played most of my many hundreds of hours of Animal Crossing New Horizons on the Switch Lite. But I don't know. I feel like we're pretty far away from a Switch 2 Lite.
Oh, yeah. I mean, give it at least a year, probably, before they start talking about updates. But anyway, hopefully it comes out soon so you can play both Dragon Quest and Dragon Quest 8 and 9 or whatever on your multiple Switches plus Steam Deck.
Yeah. I feel like after this, I don't want to make future Dragon Quest plans. I really should go back to Dragon Quest 11, because I bounced off of that really quickly. People seem to like it.
Mm-hmm. I want to give that another try as well.
I feel like it deserves another day in court.
Yeah.
Here's what I like. and it's working for me in Dragon Quest VII Reimagined in a way that it doesn't always work with the Dragon Quest games, is that I like that each little place you go, each, like, in Dragon Quest IX, it was, different parts of the map that you unlock and different little countries you've visited and stuff. And in 7, it's this whole plot about islands kind of appearing on the ocean, and you go visit them. And like each island is a little story, is a little vignette. It has a little cast of characters and a little problem or a little situation they're trying to sort of navigate or solve.
Yes.
And I get sucked into them. I like they're not all winners, and some of them are very brief, and some of them are like, I've spent 4 hours doing the last one. They're pretty significant. And I'm like, oh, is this the game now? Is this what we're going to do for the next 80 hours? No, it's just one of those little vignettes. I think that's clever. I think that's really cool. And I know that's an RPG thing, is you go to the village and you solve their problems. But I think the Dragon Quests 7 and 9 specifically are the two that are in my brain right now, because they're the two I've probably spent the most amount of time with. Are really smart about like really kind of doubling down on the quality of those stories and the characters that you encounter in each of those little sort of villages or islands or whatever. And I'm super into it. I think it's clever. And I don't know how much of a hallmark of Dragon Quest that is, because I've not played every single one of them. But I think it really works with 7 and it works with 9.
Yeah. I feel like, it is, I guess you could say it's a hallmark of the Dragon Quest series, but it's kind of just like every RPG. Like you go somewhere and you do something. If you really simplify it down to that extent. But I think what they did with the format in 7 is so smart, and I don't know how much they were really attempting to sort of like section each story off from all the others like this. But the fact that every single one takes place on its own little separate island it just feels like it gives them so much more freedom to just make some totally self-contained story.
Yes.
And then, not to give anything away, but everything in like the loop in that game is basically like you go to the island, you figure out what the problem is, and you solve it, and everything turned out great, or maybe it didn't turn out so great, but then you go back later and then see how they're doing. And It's like, oh, now it's sort of like part 2 of this little story from before. It's really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah. And the time in between your initial visit and current, basically, is significant in some cases. And like, buildings that you were in before have fallen down now, or things are overgrown, or generations have kind of come and gone, and you're dealing with the ancestors of somebody you talked to on a previous visit. And it's really neat. I think there seems to be a lot of care that has gone into crafting these little, kind of incidental stories. And it's not just another village you visit. Like, I feel like RPGs sort of, that's kind of the lazy kind of RPG thing. You go to another village and you check in at the end, and then you solve a mystery and help the people, et cetera, et cetera. And that is essentially what you're doing in Dragon Quest VII, but they feel much more substantial and very different from each other. There's the one I'm on now in Dragon Quest VII it's always night, and there's the monsters outside of the camp are really scary, and it's the first encounter of like zombies in the game. And people have to do this ritual to keep the monsters at bay, and there's a whole mythology that's built up around it, and it's really cool. And I'm like, this is very, very different from the other thing that I was doing, which had kind of a sci-fi bend to it, and there were robots and blah blah blah. So
the robot island.
Yeah, the automatons. So yeah, I think the developers of this are really going kind of all over with it, and it keeps it interesting, honestly, and I kind of dig it.
Yeah, super fun. I was just thinking, it feels like, I don't know, a season of Star Trek or something, where like every week they're like on a different planet or a different part of the galaxy, and there's something completely disconnected from whatever they were doing last week, but it's like this new thing, and who knows what's going to happen. So it's really cool.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, this is not a modern invention. This is a remake of a much older Dragon Quest game. So I have to wonder what the inspiration was. Because it does, if you think about it, now that you say it, feel a little bit like kind of episodes of a TV show.
Yeah, yeah. Like in other games where, you're not jumping on from island to island. It all feels like, even if we go to this one town on the other side of the continent, they've got their own problems. You expect them to be kind of like at least aware of everything else that's going on, or maybe they've heard about your group, or they know about the evil empire in this other corner of the world, or whatever, like typical JRPG stuff. But in Dragon Quest VII, it's like, anything could happen because there's no sort of well, I guess there is a little bit of shared like history between some of the stuff going on in the game, but not to the degree that like in a Final Fantasy game, everything, or in a lot of Final Fantasy games, there's a very strong sort of like main line through each place you visit, and in some cases you're just going there as sort of like the next step in the journey towards accomplishing this greater goal. And it's not so much the case with Dragon Quest VII. So yeah. I really enjoy that about it. I think it's such a great take on the formula.
Cool. I think it's really well done. It's and I may have said this before. I mean, for anybody entertaining playing the sort of reimagined version of Dragon Quest VII, it's lovely. It is beautiful. The music's great. The characters are not annoying at all. I think it clearly feels like something that has been polished to the nth degree. So I've had a really good time with it.
I think it's funny. I don't know if I mentioned this the last time we talked about it, but I feel like the starting party in 7 is like one of the most irritating JRPG parties of all time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think maybe they just revised it quite a bit for this reimagined version. But I remember specifically thinking, and like you've got the main character who is just the silent protagonist.
Silent protagonist, guy. Yep.
So like whatever, that's fine. But then there's like Maribel, who's like your childhood friend, who's just incredibly annoying, who's always trying to like butt into whatever you and your friend the prince are doing. The prince also very obnoxious and kind of smug. So I remember playing this like on PS1, just thinking like, man, I can't wait to like ditch Maribel and then probably Kiefer the prince also. So later on in the game, you start to get more characters, like so you can like swap people out of your party. So I just thought,
interesting. Okay, cool.
Finally, we can put these two on the bench and get some fresh blood in here.
Maribel's a monster right now in my game, though. Like, I can't imagine not having her because she's the healer. I just got a wizard staff for her. So every time she whacks somebody, she steals magic points from them. Yeah. And does damage. So she's necessary right now. Otherwise, I would not have enough magic to go around.
Well, maybe they tweak things a bit in terms of like how like personable the characters are. I guess that's an improvement. I don't think that they were intentionally grating in the original. It may have just been they came off that way for whatever reason.
I mean, they're definitely archetypes. I could see through that, obviously, but it's I don't find them super annoying. I like that she's kind of sassy and strong-willed, and the prince is kind of a dope, and it's just it kind of works. The one that I don't get, and he just recently joined my party, is the wolf boy.
Interesting.
Who's kind of silly and doesn't. I think his name is Ruff, Ruff, and I don't quite know what his thing is.
I don't know how he's sort of like written in the remake, but I was kind of like, I don't know about this character, but he's like super strong in combat, so that was fine. I let him stay on the team.
Yeah, he has a boomerang now that does total party damage. So anytime you go into an encounter and there's 4 enemies against you, he just hits all 4 of them in one shot, which is great.
Pretty good.
Maribel has a whip that does that too, which I really like.
Also pretty good.
Yeah, some good weapons in this. I've had some fun. No Falcon Blade yet, but we'll see.
Falcon Blade, classic.
If I can find one of those somewhere.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. So really good. Dragon Quest VII. I've had an excellent time with it. I keep waiting. I don't know. That's not true, actually. I was supposed to say I keep waiting to be like put off by it or distracted by some other thing. But I do find myself every time I pick up the Steam Deck, let's play a little more Dragon Quest. Let's get a little more. Let's do a little more of that.
No, I think you made it. I think like if you're that far into like the game, if you sort of like gotten into the loop, then probably good. I feel like a lot of people who bounce off it probably do so in the early hours.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
maybe later because it's just a very long game in general. But I think it's a pretty good sign that you're sticking with it.
There was a lot of like kind of padding in the beginning that felt very annoying, is that you were sort of getting a sense of kind of what the loop was going to be of you exploring these islands that were emerging, basically. But every time you came back to your home island, everybody was angry that you went away, and the prince would get grounded because you're a prince. You can't be exploring and putting yourself in danger. And then you had to sneak your friend out of the castle and blah blah blah. And that happened like 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, all right, I get it. Enough. Every time I come back, I'm in trouble and I'm grounded and I have to sneak out. But at some point, your parents just relent and they're like, well, you're growing up and I can't get in the way anymore. And I'm just going to let you do what you want. And I'm like, thank you, finally. So that to me felt like, okay, now we're going to play the game. Now we're going to do the thing. Yeah.
I feel like they streamlined it quite a bit. Yeah, like even if that's still happening. But I remember specifically when the original came out, people talked about in the early hours, they were just like, they were always throwing feasts or something at the castle or maybe in the village because like you just, all the fishermen in the village get back with the catch of the season, so I assume there was a feast associated with that.
Oh, the Pilchard Festival.
The Pilchard, yes. But yeah. But I remember playing the demo and I got to the end of it and I remember thinking, I don't think there was a single feast in the whole demo.
I'm 17 hours in. I don't think I've been to any feasts.
Yeah, so clearly they've cut some stuff.
I got drunk at a party though. And I'm like, how old are these characters?
I don't remember that happening.
Yeah. There was a party punch or something like that. I forget what they called it in the game, but it was supposed to rouse the spirits. But then it was a bunch of people dancing around a fire.
Was that in the desert?
That's in the spooky nighttime island with the monsters.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Well, getting a little ahead of myself.
Yeah, I haven't been to the desert yet. So, cool. Yeah. This has been your Dragon Quest moment.
Nice.
Slightly more than a moment, but good times.
Glad you're sticking with it because, like I said, it's one of my favorites. Maybe my favorite Dragon Quest, actually. And nice. I actually really enjoyed the demo. Just trying to play all this other stuff. I don't have to play this game again. 100-hour game.
We are going to talk about Slay the Spire II, but we want to say that we're also going to stream more Slay the Spire II.
Oh, yeah.
So we had our little experiment. I guess not an experiment, but we did our thing last week where DJ and I abstained from playing Slay the Spire II upon release so that we could stream our first experience with it kind of live. But now that we've got a little more experience under our belts and we've unlocked a few more characters, we're going to play more Slay the Spire II coming up on Monday night, March 23rd at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. 7 p.m. Pacific. Go to twitch.tv/VGHangover for that.
Yeah, should be good.
Yeah. The game supports up to 4-player co-op, so we're going to see if we can recruit a couple more players too so we can round out the party.
Yeah, should be interesting. And we can get into it when we talk about Slay the Spire, but I've seen a few people playing 4-player co-op, and you could do some wild stuff.
Interesting.
Especially you have 4 different characters. There's a lot of different like synergies that can happen.
Yeah. I think kind of play order probably becomes very important in that situation, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, looking forward to it. I felt like we were just barely scratching the surface of what you could do if you got it together with a friend who kind of also knew what they were doing.
Yeah. It felt like, first day of school or like first day at a new job or something where you're just like, oh yeah, this is sort of, I remember how this works. But we didn't make it especially far during that initial run. Yeah.
We, I think one of the things that we kind of got quickly was, that you can play anytime. You don't have to like wait in line in an orderly fashion for your turn to play. Right. So we got it together pretty fast that like I would queue up. I had a couple of vulnerable cards, and vulnerable like lowers the damage that enemies are going to do to you and your partner. So I would throw some vulnerables down, and then DJ would go in to just mop up the last little bit of health they had, and it worked out pretty good quite a while until it didn't anymore, which is classic Slay the Spire. But I think there's way more of that kind of stuff that you can tee up over time, particularly if you have 4 players going at once.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, that is next Monday, March 23rd.
Yep.
Should we just get into it, or talk about Virtual Boy for like 1 minute?
Okay. And go.
Go. What did you do for Mario Day last week? I played 2 stupid Mario games on the Virtual Boy app.
Oh.
They weren't actually stupid, I guess, but man, Virtual Boy is still questionable. They did release 2 Mario games for Mario Day. They were the 2 of the most anticipated Virtual Boy games, I think. Or at least 2 of the ones I'd heard mentioned the most when they announced that they were doing this Virtual Boy app on the Switch, which were Mario Clash and Mario Tennis. I didn't know a lot about Mario Clash. It felt like, this is funny. I played this to start, and I just thought like, okay, well, this plays like your quintessential like launch title / pack-in. I don't know if they did a pack-in with Virtual Boy, where it's like kind of like a tech demo just to show off the capabilities of the system. Like it felt like it was inspired by like the original Mario Brothers, the one where they're like in a sewer. It's not Super Mario Brothers, so they're like jumping on turtles and like the getting chased by fireballs and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it had very much that aesthetic, but there's like a platform towards the front of the screen and there's a platform towards the back, and you can use pipes to travel between the foreground and background, and you throw turtle shells between the 2 platforms to try and kill enemies. So that was a very nice demonstration of like the 3D screen or the 3D visuals or whatever. But then like that's the entire game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or at least that's as much as I played. I played like 5 or 6 levels. And yeah, they're just increasingly more complex arrangements of sort of a foreground and background level. Like you have to do a little platforming back and forth, but a lot of the time you're just playing that original Mario Brothers game, but this time there are 2 sort of planes that you can travel between. So I thought, okay, well, this is a great introduction for people who just picked this up. And then I looked it up, and it wasn't even a launch game. It came out like a couple months after the system, so that's very questionable. But then the other one I played was Mario Tennis, and surprise, it's actually really good. I played probably like twice as long as I was planning to, because I thought, well, Mario Tennis, how like revolutionary could this be? And the answer is, it's really not. It's just every tennis game you ever played. It's like, Wii Tennis or any of the other Mario Tennis games. But fortunately, tennis still a pretty good game. So I spent a lot of matches just lobbing a ball back and forth. I think it was me and Toad. And I think like partly this was due to me not remembering how many games were supposed to make up the match or whatever. So I kept like hitting continue, and like one of us should have won by now, I think. Like we both have a lot of points. But no, it was actually fun enough that I just continued with it. I don't know, and like here's the thing, I don't know if it's sort of like justified, or if like the sort of Virtual Boy 3D capabilities like really justified playing this as opposed to any other Mario game or any other Mario Tennis game that you could potentially play. Because it felt a lot like any game on the 3DS, which was like, oh, use the 3D to sort of understand where objects exist in 3D space, and using that information, it maybe makes it easier for you to like platform or like grab or dodge items or something like that. And I never felt like that was actually the case in any of those games where you could like reliably use the 3D to actually have a real sense of like where objects were.
Yeah.
So it felt very similar in that, like, okay, yeah, it looks like the ball is flying straight at you. It looks like it's going to come out of the screen, but that was not really helpful in like positioning my character and trying to like return the ball back to the other side. So,
oh, interesting.
It's kind of questionable, but again, still like a pretty good showcase for what the Virtual Boy can do. And like, I guess if you have to play any Virtual Boy game, might as well be Mario Tennis because it's still pretty fun.
It's about as good as it gets, I imagine.
Yeah, but also, again, don't play it for more than like 15 or 20 minutes because you will just have a headache afterward.
Oh,
it's just like, I kind of can't believe that they released this to the public and did not get sued. But there was like no class action suit against them for like destroying people's eyesight. Maybe because not enough people bought these things. But it really, like, you put on the headset, and after even just a few seconds of having to like refocus between the different like 3D planes, it's like, oh, this doesn't feel good. Like they should have put this back in the oven a little bit.
Yeah, that's rough. Maybe I think you're probably right. There just weren't enough of them out in the wild for people to get it together. Plus, there wasn't an internet at that point for people to find other people who were suffering through Virtual Boy games. Yeah,
it was a little bit of the internet when did this come out? It was like 97, 98, 95. Okay, so maybe that's that's a little early, I guess.
It's very early internet.
Yeah.
You can post you could
go to your Virtual Boy news group or whatever.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Alt / video game / no, it would be alt video games
video games
Virtual Boy
/ ow my eyes
/ I need a lawyer.
Yeah. Oh man, okay. Well, that was 60 seconds on the Virtual Boy. I feel like there are probably a few more games in the pipe, but yeah, this probably constitutes the majority of the time I'm going to spend playing Virtual Boy games for the rest of my life.
Are they holding anything back for Luigi Day?
When's Luigi Day?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think it's a thing.
There's like a Wario game. I think the Wario game is already on there, but then we need to figure out when Wario Day is. It's like
it'd be the opposite of Mario Day.
Yeah. His half birthday or whatever. Okay, well that should be in like 6 months from now, so we'll play that Wario game.
Cool. I'm intrigued by the Virtual Boy, but I don't want to play it at all. So
you don't play it at all?
I'm glad you're doing it, so I don't have to.
I remember you were always a huge fan of the 3DS, like the 3D capability. So I was like, well, maybe you would be impressed by this. Maybe it would be interesting enough. But also the games are quite old at this point. So, I don't see you as somebody who's playing a lot of like just straight up Game Boy games back in the 90s.
No. Even as like a lark and just to check out this Nintendo oddity, I don't know that the interest is significant. So but I did like the 3D on the 3DS. I thought it worked really well. I'm kind of hit or miss on like Magic Eye posters and 3D movies and things like that. But I thought it worked fine. I played a lot of Animal Crossing and what was the Mario game on there? New Super Mario Brothers? No.
3D
Mario
Land.
3D Land. Yeah. All like with the 3D slider all the way up on the 3DS.
Yeah. It's too bad that, this is, as we established, it was pre-internet, so there couldn't have been like a Virtual Boy eShop. But I wonder if there would have been some kind of interesting 3D applications people could develop for this thing if they had the opportunity. Or
just to see what other like indie developers would do with that technology.
Yeah. It'd be like the Playdate, except in just be all red.
Right.
3D.
Instead of all gray.
Yeah.
Cool. We should talk about Slay the Spire II.
Yeah. Sounds pretty good. I guess.
It is pretty good. So I'll start with I've not played a lot of early access games. So I don't have a huge history of sort of comprehending the state that games are in when they sort of launch in this condition. So there was a part of me that was worried this was going to feel kind of incomplete or janky or not run well or anything. But you kind of can't tell. It doesn't really feel incomplete. I've encountered a couple of cards throughout the course of the game that say like, there'll be more checks here later, basically. So I think some of that is still kind of a work in progress, but there's no other part of it that feels unfinished.
Yeah, I think that this is probably the smoothest early access experience that I've had.
So they're not all like this.
No, I mean, I think, it depends on, like, game by game what the early access state suggests. But I kind of expect, like, if it's a campaign-based game, probably the whole campaign is not going to be there. Probably going to be more bugs than you would expect in the full release product. Maybe some sections of it just straight up won't work, or it'll crash a lot. And I think if you, like, by putting the early access label on there, they're kind of like excusing themselves from people complaining that their game doesn't work as well as other games.
Sure. Okay, it crashed, but it's early access. What do you?
Yeah, like it said early access when you bought it. So sorry, but that's what you should expect. But yeah, I haven't run into any like severe bugs or anything. There have been a lot of the art will say like placeholder in the corner and be kind of like Microsoft Paint art in some cases, which I actually think is kind of hysterical.
I don't think I've run into that a lot. That's interesting.
No? Okay. Yeah, it happens a lot, like not on the cards, but there's this section called Timeline, which it's basically like achievements.
Yeah.
Stuff to unlock. And I think that like there's a lot more lore and sort of like background story in the game now, mostly in the Timeline section. And like clearly that is not really important for actually playing the game. So I feel like that's where a lot of the placeholder art appears.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
There's one of those that I unlocked, and it just says like the text here isn't ready yet, so expect it later. But that is the only instance of something that is just like straight up not present because
clearly
it's
not done. Yeah. Interesting.
So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But other than that, it feels very playable. I did not play Slay the Spire I, that was in early access. I waited until I think I played it on the Switch first. So
same. Yes.
That was the 1.0 release or whatever the quote-unquote final release version was.
I still have only played the first Slay the Spire on the Switch. I've never played it anywhere else. You've moved over to your phone, right, at some point?
Yeah. I didn't play it much on the Switch. It was only once it came to mobile where I was like, oh no, I could just play this anywhere. Then I guess that's what I'll do. And then I played probably 800 or 900 hours of it. But it's currently only on Steam, which I honestly don't know how much I'm going to continue playing it. Just because I would love to have it on my phone, and it will be there eventually, but it's probably going to be quite a while.
Yeah,
but
and they didn't with Slay the Spire one. They didn't do like the unified login thing where your progress carries from device to device. I presume.
They did not. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, so I don't know what happens when early access ends. Whether they like wipe everybody's saves. I imagine that might happen. But I also expect they're going to be doing a bunch of balance updates throughout early access. So I expect a lot of stuff to actually change. So maybe by the time it's ready to release it, it'll make sense. Or I'll just be like, yes, please, like wipe my save file. I don't mind starting over or whatever.
Right.
Because you really you don't, aside from your like play stats or whatever, you're not losing significant progress or anything. Or maybe you are. I don't know. Maybe depending on how many ascensions you've unlocked in early access, maybe it might be annoying having to do that again. But like the end result is, you just have to play more Slay the Spire. So I feel like it's not a huge setback.
I said to you before we started recording tonight that I feel like I've not unlocked enough cards to feel like good at the game because I keep getting my butt kicked in Slay the Spire II. And there really is not. I mean, there's a lot of cards, obviously, to unlock over the course of this game, but I don't think like success or failure hinges too much on that because the objective for me, anyways, has always been to carry as few cards as are functionally necessary. So
you don't want any dead weight in your deck.
Right. Or you're just, when you're doing your random draw, you're pulling a bunch of Drek, and I don't want that clogging up my hand either. I want the cards that I'm pulling to be useful in the moment that I'm in. If you have the ability to curate it, obviously. So I keep saying, well, I keep dying because I haven't unlocked good cards yet. But I'm like, no, I'm just not great at it yet. So I think there's definitely difficulty curve that I'm encountering. And it's been a while since I've played early hours of Slay the Spire. So I'm definitely feeling a little bit of that friction in a way that, maybe I wasn't feeling with more recent experiences with the first Slay the Spire.
Yeah, I can't tell if it is actually more difficult or if it's just a matter of sort of reacclimating and unlocking stuff. I feel like you were saying, I don't think the difficulty hinges too much on unlockables. It's certainly nice to have more options in terms of more cards available and more relics available. Right. But you should be able it should be clearable with just the basic starting deck and items available to you.
Yeah.
But I think so much about Slay the Spire 1's difficulty was, you just got to understand all the cards that are potentially going to be in your deck, and to some extent what relics are available, and then most importantly all the encounters, how all the monsters you're going to fight work, and that you have to completely relearn. I was actually surprised. I don't think there are any encounters from the first one that came back.
I haven't seen any repeats, no.
Which I was kind of surprised, but also it makes sense because I already fought all those guys. Why don't I really need to do it again?
Yeah.
Even if it was they brought something back and there was a little twist on it. Actually, I have seen a couple that felt like they were a new take on an encounter from the first one.
Do you mean the question mark blocks on the map, or do you mean the enemies?
Some of the enemies, there was one of the bosses was related to the Lagavulin from the first one.
Oh, excellent.
So they had kind of similar abilities. But it wasn't the exact same encounter, which is, I think, probably the way to do it. Because you don't want to just, I could just go play the Spire 1 again. So why would I do that?
Right. I thought you were referencing the question mark stops on the map, basically.
I think those are all different too, so far.
Yeah, those are all super different. And for our listeners who maybe haven't played Slay the Spire, there are these little story things, little nuggets of you walk into a room and it's filled with flowers and plants and they're all glowing. Do you pluck a plant or do you do something else? And normally there's a binary to it. You give up a little bit of health to get a pretty good reward, or you give up a lot of health to get a really good reward, or some other sort of questionable, dubious outcome. I think there's a learning curve to that stuff too, as you encounter these things, is what am I willing to give up in exchange for what looks like a perk or what feels like an advantage? Or do I have, is every nugget of health precious to me at this point because I'm still 5 stops away from being able to sleep by the campfire and heal up. And so, I think the learning curve that I remember from Slay the Spire 1 is how to be sort of conservative about your choices, but still make good calls that allow you to warp the game a little bit to your favor. When to sort of be risky and detour on a path that takes you to a big monster, a big encounter, a boss encounter, with the hope that you unlock an artifact that changes the game permanently. But maybe you're going to give up a ton of health to be able to achieve that, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a lot of risk reward and just sort of getting into the rhythm of am I feeling risky? Am I feeling adventurous right now? Or do I want to play it safe and just get to the final boss?
The decisions you have to make in Slay the Spire, I have to say, probably some of the best decisions you make in any video game. Just because everything feels balanced so well, and there's always a very clear trade-off. Actually, that's not the case in Slay the Spire 2, just because it's brand new and I don't know what anything does.
Right. Yeah, that's my thought too.
I'm really trying to enjoy, and this is like, I kind of approach any game with this mindset now, because there's always like the first few hours of it where you're like super underpowered and you don't know how anything works, and you're kind of thinking like, man, I can't wait till like 10 and 20 hours from now when I'm just like rich and I got all these like crazy weapons and stuff, and I'm just a master of every system in this game. But I really try and like savor the early hours where you don't know what's going on and everything is a struggle, because eventually that just goes away and it doesn't come back. So I'm really enjoying like every new event I run into, every new encounter where I'm just like, never seen these monsters before. I don't know what the buffs on them mean. A lot of the times in events, I don't know if this happened as much in the first one, but they will like give you a choice, and one of the options is super obvious. It's like you will get 2 potions and like a random relic, and the other one is like, here's a key that unlocks something later, and it doesn't tell you what it is. And like 50 hours from now, I'll just be like, oh yeah, give me the key because I know exactly what that does. But
right, exactly.
In this, like at this point, well, I guess I gotta pick the key just so I will be able to make an informed decision the next time I run into this. So I guess we gotta do that. I guess we gotta get the key.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I guess it's not a very interesting decision, but eventually it will be, and so that's sort of what I'm counting on. But it's still like every single decision you make is still exciting, either because it's an interesting trade-off or just because you don't know what's going to happen later on. It's really good.
Yeah. I feel like with Slay the Spire 1, like I had played so many hours of that game, and I would still occasionally have runs where I would be 4 or 5 stops in on the map, like the very first map, and I would die. Mm-hmm. I'd make some stupid choice. I'd not have the hand I needed, the card that I wanted, etc. And I would just get wiped before I had really ever made any progress in the game. And I'm, at that point I was, 100 hours into my experience. I'm like, you dumbass, you idiot. How did you, and you knew exactly where you went wrong or what choice you made that led you to that place, blah, blah, blah. And there is a grace in Slay the Spire II of not knowing any of these things or knowing what the right choices are or what I should have done or when I should have done it. So it is a little liberating to just kind of be experimental, I think, with Slay the Spire II right now.
Yeah.
Before I get harder on myself for making bad choices.
I find myself a lot of times, like, especially looking at card rewards, thinking like, oh man, this card doesn't seem great, but like I've never used it before, so I don't really know, like maybe it'll be good, so I'll just take it. And it ends up with me having like way larger or like way more cards in my deck than I ideally would want. But I'm just like, they're like dangling too many new cards in front of me. I gotta try all of them. So
exactly, yeah.
So I feel like I'm just like sabotaging myself and playing really poorly as a result. But it's all in the name of like science and like understanding how the game actually works.
You could be selective later, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just be smarter later, and I'll just thank my past self for like, oh, glad I picked that card, and sure enough, it was terrible. But now I understand why it's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like another great thing about Slay the Spire is like there's not a lot in it that really just is objectively bad. There's always sort of like a niche use for a lot of stuff, where if you have the right combination of cards and relics, you can turn like a normally pretty useless card into something pretty powerful. So the thing is, you just have to figure out all that stuff over again because there's so many new sort of like options for you.
Right. Well, and the characters all play very differently as well. So I think there's a learning curve to not just like learning the new deck, learning the new cards, trying to make true choices that way. The characters all have their own funky little perks. I've not even ventured into playing with the new characters in Slay the Spire 2. I've stuck to the ones that I know from Slay the Spire 1. Probably because I'm a little intimidated by that learning curve, I think. My initial thought was like, it's a little lazy. They're just going to bring the 3 characters over from the first game. But I'm kind of glad they're there because I think if I had to learn all these new cards and 3 new main characters or whatever, it'd be interesting, of course, because the level of execution here is really high. But it's a lot to process, and there is a familiarity in sort of knowing, how the silent works or how
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I probably played as the Silent the most so far, just because that was my favorite character from the first one. And I've been struggling quite a bit. I just felt like I should be better at like using the Silent at this point. And I partially blame that on just like maybe I don't understand how the game works. Maybe it is actually more difficult. And then I saw somebody make a comment that like, oh, they really changed how the Silent plays in Slay the Spire II. And I thought, well, I don't understand what that means. What are they talking about? So maybe I am just missing something, because from what I played so far, she seems fairly similar. So obviously I have a little more like digging to do there, but I'm just like, wait a minute. How could I overlook something if people are clearly pointing this out?
Having a different experience. Yeah. I don't know. I've mostly played Slay the Spire II. I've mostly played Ironclad thus far. It's the first character you unlock. He's just kind of a brute. He just whacks things with a sword.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of learning curve to it. So I've kind of couched it like he's the tutorial guy, I feel like. So yeah, I'm definitely kind of in learning mode, I think. I've played the Silent once, and I have unlocked the Regent, which is one of the new characters, and I've not used him yet.
It's definitely more noticeable. Well, it's noticeable with the Ironclad and the Silent because they're returning characters. But it seems like there are more cards that they seem like they're pointing you towards specific playstyles. And I feel like this was definitely present in, say, the Spire 1, but maybe it's just a little more obvious this time. Like with the Ironclad, it feels like there are a lot more cards that hinge on you exhausting cards, which is basically like you play them and then they get destroyed. And you can't use them again for that combat. Maybe I just didn't notice, or maybe it's because in general I don't care. Like I don't want to exhaust my cards. Like then I don't have those cards anymore. But it seems like there are a lot that give you pretty good incentives to be doing that all the time. So that took some adjusting. And then this is something I really liked about how the Silent plays in 2 is that, again, there were a bunch of cards that she had in Slay the Spire 1 which would trigger an effect whenever you like discarded a card. Or no, it was when you discarded that card specifically. So instead of spending energy to play it, you would play a different card and like discard the other card, but in doing that, that card would give you a benefit. And they've kind of taken that and like formalized it into just a new system. So it feels like as you're playing the Silent, you're kind of expected to be like on the lookout for cards that do this, and just thinking about how you can generate more discards as you're playing through these cards. I think that's really interesting. And it's actually
the objective being to kind of to pare down your deck, so you're again really just sort of drawing the stuff that is most relevant.
Well, no, it's like you draw these cards, and then because a lot of the cards you have picked up force you to discard another card, you get to play all those other cards for free, essentially.
Oh.
Because as you are discarding it like the effect on it triggers. So it's just a really different approach to building a deck for that character, which I imagine it was a popular tactic in the first one, but I don't think I built too many times. I don't think I built too many decks with that as the goal. I was always just like, let's just find as much poison as possible.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Something a little more
poison and shivs.
Poison and shivs, yeah. But it's funny because after I turn off the computer that I have Steam on, and I'm just stuck on my phone playing Slay the Spire 1, I find myself really missing sort of the new like synergies and all those like discard abilities. Where I'm like, oh, can I kind of recreate that in Slay the Spire 1? Is it still possible? Even if it's maybe not geared as directly for that. So it's been interesting because the whole time I was thinking like, this thing is going to be in early access. I don't know how much I'm going to play it if it's stuck on my PC rather than being on my phone. But at least I'll still be playing Slay the Spire 1 on my phone all the time. And after playing Slay the Spire 2, I'm just like, oh, Slay the Spire 1 just doesn't feel as exciting anymore. Kind of surprised.
It's interesting. My biggest fear with Slay the Spire 2 was that since the first one came out, which was that 2017? Does that sound right?
Sounds about right.
Almost 10 years. There have been a lot of games that have done the Slay the Spire thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've played a lot of them. So when I first played the first Slay the Spire, it felt kind of new and fresh and interesting. And certainly I'd played like deck builder games in video game form before, but there was something about Slay the Spire that kind of executed that in a way that not many up to that point had been able to do. So now that there's been all these imitators, I wasn't sure that Slay the Spire II could feel new or interesting or fresh enough. And there's certainly like a comfortability and a familiarity, like, oh, it's that place and that character. And I really like this, art style and this storytelling style and this world and etc. But it does feel like the developers have found a few other little tricks to pull that kind of make it feel unique still and not just sort of an expansion of Slay the Spire or a retread of what other video game developers have done sort of in the shadow of Slay the Spire. So I give them a lot of kudos, and I'm just a few hours in. You've played way more of it than I have, for making it feel compelling and making it feel fresh. And to add a wrinkle like that, where certainly I've never thought to build a deck around discard ability. So that's hurting my brain a little bit. Just kind of think about the possibilities there. It has been surprising that it's as exciting as it is.
It's funny because I kind of do think of it as like it kind of feels like an expansion to Slay the Spire 1. In that, like, the gameplay is pretty much identical. They just layered a bunch of new stuff on top of it. But it feels like the best possible way to handle an expansion, where like it's very familiar. You're doing basically the same stuff, but like all the monsters are new. I feel like I don't think every single card from the first one made it over, but most of them. Actually, I wouldn't even go as far as to say most of them. Like a lot of them did.
Yeah.
And I'm still unlocking cards, so I'm still sort of hoping that some of my favorites are waiting around the corner.
But you would expect some of the basics would have to, like a defend would have to.
Well, yeah, right? It's like no more defends. We're gonna figure out a whole new like paradigm. That would have been crazy. But yeah, like a lot of the cards and like the relics even feel new. I'm sure like at some point somebody will have a complete breakdown. Here's everything that didn't make it in. Here's stuff that, I don't know, maybe they'll add stuff later.
Have you found any repeated relics from the first game?
Now that you asked me that directly, I'm like, maybe oh no, they're absolutely repeated relics from the first game.
Okay. I had to think
about it. I was like,
yeah.
There are just so many new ones. I'm actually really curious now to see what the breakdown is, like old versus new. But yeah, you've got a lot of the old like standbys, I think. That's the most important thing. Is like after you get beyond the most basic stuff like attacks and defense, like give me like Perfected Strike. I really enjoy on Ironclad. Bouncing Flask on the Silent. It's like, yeah, there it is. It's my boy.
I'm thinking of the Wordle inspired game that you shared with us on the Discord, where you Spiredle. Yeah, we had a couple of dubious clues to figure out which particular Slay the Spire card they were referencing.
Funny you should mention that. So my go-to card for Spiredle was Catalyst, which is probably my favorite card from Slay the Spire 1 because it's stupid. And so far I haven't encountered it in Slay the Spire 2. I've heard that it's like significantly more difficult to get in 2, and I don't know what that means at this point. But I'm like, okay, like that's fair, I guess, because it did turn into just sort of like an auto win button. If you have the right combination of powers, you could play along with it. But at the same time, kind of sad that it's like, oh man, that's the number one card I was excited to see back, like pop up at the end of a run, and it's like, you've unlocked these 3 new cards, and one of them would be Catalyst. But still waiting to be reunited. But yeah, so anyway, basically, it feels like an amazing expansion where it's, the same stuff you were doing in the first one, that's still really good. Like the gameplay is still really good. But there's so much new stuff. I was worried that, like, are they going to take out too much of the old stuff? Are they going to take out all my favorite cards, and it's not going to feel like the same game anymore? But I feel like that, like there's so much new stuff. A lot of what is new is really exciting and is making me like approach things in new ways. It's just cool to have more added onto this game. Because, like I said, I've already I spent hundreds of hours on the first one, so I feel like I've seen a lot of what there is.
Nice. I'm trying to think of one of my favorite cards. I can't summon any of them out of my brain right now, but when they pop up, I'm like, oh, I love this one.
Yeah. You could say Catalyst also. That's fine.
I have what do I have in my brain? I have Wraith form in my brain. I have Rushdown. Wraith form is whenever you change a stance. That's the one where you
lose strength or something like that. No, I don't like that one.
Oh no, I'm thinking Mental Fortress is the one where you change a stance and you get a bunch of block. Yeah,
Mental Fortress is really good. Yeah. And the whole character is not even in the game at this point, which is a little disappointing. But again, it's very early. She was late to the first game anyway.
Oh, the Watcher, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the Talk to the Hand? Was the Watcher?
Talk to the Hand, yeah.
Deal 5 damage whenever you attack this enemy. Gain 2 block.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I 100% she'll be back at some point. I imagine she'll come back. She's the last character from the first one who's not in this one yet. And then I'm thinking probably 2 more new characters. I don't know if that's by the time it leaves early access, but I think over the lifespan of the game, there'll probably be 2 new characters.
Is that based on there were 4 characters in the first game, so you expect 4 new ones in the new game?
I don't know. I'm just kind of feeling it out. I feel like they got to bring back the Watcher for sure, because that's already sort of a designed archetype.
Did you play a lot of Watcher in the first one?
I did, yeah. She was probably... It took me a while to get to that character, but then eventually she was probably my most played character after the Silent.
Oh, interesting. Cool.
But I feel like they, since they announced, they added 1 character post-launch after... Actually, wait, how long did it take for them to add the defect in Slay the Spire 1?
The defect was in Slay the Spire 1 when I got it, so it must have been part of the 1.0.
Okay, so fairly early. So anyway, 1 post-launch character in Slay the Spire 1. I feel like, so with that in mind, they gotta have 2 post-launch characters in Slay the Spire 2, plus the Watcher, just bringing her back. So that's how I base that prediction. But I mean, I feel like the 1.0 release is years away at this point.
Yeah, I don't think I have a sense of how long. Well, it must have been 2.5, 3 years that Slay the Spire 1 was in kind of early access before 1.0 came out. So, because I don't think I got on board until 2020, if I remember correctly. So it had been updated.
That was Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah, it had been updated multiple times since it first came out in 2017.
Yeah,
at that point, which is insane.
Yeah, that's another thing. Is another thing that was making me wonder how much I was going to end up playing it while it's still in early access, because I don't know, maybe the 1.0 release will feel completely different. That's probably not true, but now I'm just kind of interested to see how it does change between now and then. So maybe I'll just play this all the time, and then maybe when 1.0 comes out, it'll feel like a fresh new game again. Or maybe by then, maybe that's why they'll add a new character. It's I've just mined everything I can out of the game, and the full release will add a bunch of new characters to play as. Who knows?
Yeah.
I spent a little bit of time with the new characters. I probably did 1. Actually, I think I only did 1 run each on both of them. And if you haven't played them, maybe I'll stay talking about them until later. Maybe I'll play as those on the stream next week.
Fun.
But I've been having a lot of fun with them. They seem like I haven't fully wrapped my head around them yet. But it's surprising how different they feel from the other characters, despite like a lot of the cards, they like between all the different characters, a lot of the cards kind of do the same general stuff. They're like, you're doing damage or building up some resource or putting debuffs on the enemy, but everybody has their own spin on everything, so keeps it feeling fresh.
Yeah, I've barely scratched the surface, so I've not even made it past the first map, so I have a lot to do. I got further playing co-op with you than I have playing solo by myself, so that's what solo means, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Solo by myself. So yeah, I think there's definitely me still shaking off some cobwebs and kind of learning my way through some of the stuff, but it's fun. It's if I was not up to my eyeballs in Dragon Quest right now, I think I would be mainlining this daily.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that it's not on my phone, because then I'd probably just be doing this all the time, and I don't need that. But at this point, I'll just, maybe pop in a little bit in the evening, maybe do 1 or 2 runs, depending on how well the first one goes.
It doesn't have dailies yet, does it? That was usually my pop-in for Slay the Spire 1.
But there are requirements to unlock them.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. I think if you look at that timeline thing, it shows you, it kind of tells you what to do to unlock a bunch of stuff. It'll be on there. It explains what you have to do.
Okay. I've not looked at that a ton, so.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's an interesting feature. I don't think it was really in the first one, but it's similar to no, I can't think of a game that does something similar to this. I was thinking almost like Smash Brothers had a similar looking interface where you would hover over a block and it'd be like, defeat 5 bosses with this character to unlock this square. So it's similar stuff in this, where it's like, complete a run as this character, or defeat 5 elites as this character to unlock something. And it's not totally clear what you unlock, but it gives you a goal to work towards. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. I like a checklist.
Yeah.
Hey. All right. Well, lots more Slay the Spire 2 to come.
Yeah. I feel like I want to play a little more of the co-op before we really get into it, but I initially thought, I don't know if I'll ever, I don't really care about co-op on this, because it wasn't really in the first one, and so I've always thought of it as a solo experience, but even just after the half of a run we did on the stream, and after watching a few other people play it, I'm just like, I think there might be something here. Maybe I'll end up playing co-op a lot more than I thought. Yeah.
Well, again, thinking through the games that have imitated or iterated on the Slay the Spire 1 since then, I can't think of any or many that have done a co-op or a multiplayer take on it. So it does feel like sort of a distinguishing feature of Slay the Spire 2. So I do feel like I kind of want to give it a shot. Plus, you and I had a number of experiences where we just played co-op Slay the Spire 1 with you and I
just
controls,
talking through the
the
decisions. That was
so it chimes in on what card to play and when and where to go on the map. So to make it a little more democratic and to actually be able to collaborate on strategies, I think is really cool.
Yeah. It's interesting because I know there were a bunch of co-op mods for Slay the Spire 1 that I never tried. But I'm curious to know how much of the actual co-op system in Slay the Spire 2 drew on those mods for inspiration, or how different the experience is compared to the most popular mods. Is it just sort of the official version of one of those mods, or do they have kind of their own take on it? Because I think it works much better than I was expecting it to, but I wonder if that's because they were sort of beta testing it for the last 9 years.
Right. I'm curious how much of the game is kind of built or how much it changes if you play it co-op versus solo.
There was that. So also, I know a couple potential things. One is I noticed the monsters had way more health than they do solo.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Kind of makes sense because you're all playing separate attacks.
Right. I mean, by rights, if you're playing 2-player, the game should be half as easy.
Yeah. And then there was that one card which I forget what it did now, but it was you it basically made you more like take more damage, and then your allies take half as much or something like that.
Right.
But I remember seeing that and thinking like, oh, this wouldn't even make sense to have in single player. So there's clearly some co-op exclusive stuff happening, which is kind of cool. I just kind of
totally
kind of find all of it now.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be super weak if it was just single player, but now there's two people on the screen instead of one. So I'm glad it shifts the experience a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I think in co-op you can like use potions on each other, like your other party members.
We did run into that. Yes, I remember that.
It was actually really interesting. So the stream I was watching with 4 people playing, it felt like they were just sort of like settling into like a typical RPG party build, where one person was like the tank and somebody was like, oh, now I guess I'll look for like healing cards. So it's like, okay, I think I've played this game before. But it was just kind of hilarious seeing that like organically develop. Yeah. As they realized like, oh, we could be sort of like specializing in these areas. So that was extremely funny.
What do you want your job to be? Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's really, really good.
Cool. That's interesting. I don't know that I would have thought to construct that between you and I. So that's again, yet another interesting kind of perspective on it.
Yeah. With 2 people, I think the dynamic is very different than when you have 4 people. But yeah, man, I'm excited to play a full co-op game with 4 different characters, each one doing their own thing. Should be crazy.
Definitely. Cool. All right. Any other Slay the Spire stuff in your brain?
Oh, I mean, there absolutely is. But I don't know. What else is in my notes? I guess I wrote down some stuff about the new characters. I'll save that for the next time because I want to spend a little more time with them. But I was surprised at how much I was enjoying the Necrobinder, especially, who is the second character you unlock. Just a
little skeleton guy, right?
Little skeleton.
Yeah. I've seen him in the art. I haven't actually encountered him in the game yet, so
it's
cool.
Just got like the big like skeleton hand that sits on the battlefield too. It's kind of fun.
So. Yeah, it does feel like, and I think I said this when we were playing, that they really spruced up the animations because it feels super polished. And Slay the Spire 1 was quite static and quite flat at times. It had a lot of character just because of its art style and its assembly, but they have really kind of the Megacrit has really kind of gone far with, I think, what they can kind of do from an animation perspective. It's really kind of been cool to see.
Oh yeah, like that is maybe. I mean, not to put down all the work they've put into developing all the new cards and systems and everything, but just presentation wise, it is an insane upgrade over the first one.
Yeah,
like the original, clearly, small team wasn't the art wasn't as polished as other games out there. The animation, you could tell, was kind of like primitive. Again, not that it was lacking in charm. I actually kind of appreciate that about the first game, where it felt just kind of scrappy.
Oh, totally.
But man, Slay the Spire II looks unbelievable. Like like most of the card art, if it's not placeholder, is like just super polished. It's all like really sort of like readable, if that makes sense. Like whenever you draw a card, you really want to just understand what's happening on the card. All the animation looks great.
I do remember
because I've played 800 hours of this on my phone, on my tiny little phone screens. So like all the cards up to this point have been like 2 inches tall. So it's kind of amazing seeing it on my like desktop display, and just looks unbelievable.
These cards are huge.
Yeah.
I recall when Slay the Spire, the first Slay the Spire, actually hit Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass. One of the members of our community, and I won't call them out by name, but was like, I trade that game that you guys are always going on and on about. It's really ugly. I'm like, okay, I could see that, but like, play it a little bit more because it doesn't have to be pretty to be awesome.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that sentiment, but like, I could see how you would think that.
I'm like trying to be really careful about how I describe the art style in the first one, because it definitely felt like a little crude. Not like, off color or whatever, but like, again, just not super polished, all the art. But I like that about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely had like a metalhead in high school drawing on a book cover.
Yeah.
Like
really,
it felt
kind of like in the margins of your notes, so drawing all these weird like cow skulls and arcade
fantasy
symbols
characters and stuff.
Thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was very heavy metal.
Yeah, I really liked there was a lot of humor in it, in just the card illustrations, where sometimes you wouldn't look too closely at them. This is what I meant by like some of the cards were like more difficult to like read visually and understand what the card was supposed to, or like what the card art was supposed to represent. Because there would be a few times I would look at a card that I'd probably seen like hundreds of times and like really just focused on it to try and understand what was happening in the art and be like, oh, I did not even realize that was what was happening. And it turned out the scene was actually like really funny. So like, oh, it's kind of like, like doing a magic eye.
Second magic eye reference in this week's episode.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. If you need any more video game hangover in your brain, you should follow us on Blue Sky at what are we there? We're VGHangover.com on Blue Sky. And you can always get show notes and links and tell us what you thought about this episode at VGHangover.com. We will be streaming Slay the Spire II, hopefully full party. If not, just DJ and I. That's still pretty good.
Yeah.
That's your consolation prize. This coming Monday night, March 23rd at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Go to twitch.tv/VGHangover for that. And you can always get all of this information on our Discord. You can hang out with us, chat about video games and other fun stuff. There's a link for that, believe it or not, at VGHangover.com as well. We would love for you to subscribe, rate, and review us on your podcasting app of choice, and maybe help us out by telling your friends about the show.
Yeah, we appreciate that a lot. It helps us get the word out about the show and bring in new listeners who, what are they going to do? They're going to tell us their favorite builds for the Silent, or
there you go.
Whoever their favorite Slay the Spire character is.
What is your favorite card?
I'm going to I feel like I'm going to really go for the Necrobinder. See how that is, but I may just end up going back to the Silent. Anyway, tell your friends about the show. We appreciate it a lot. We also appreciate Ray 8-Bit for our intro and outro music this week. If you'd like to hear more of his work, you can go to ray8bit.bandcamp.com and check out all of his stuff, plus his new album that just came out.
Nice. Run down to the record store and pick up a copy.
Yeah.
On cassette.
Well, okay.
So I can listen to it in my car.
You still got a tape deck in your car?
I don't. No, I don't. I have boxes of tapes from the 90s and early 2000s, and I don't have a device to play them on. So,
I mean, like, more often than I would expect, I will go to somebody's Bandcamp page, and they're either selling, like, a vinyl version of their album or, like, a cassette version. And I'm just like, people aren't actually listening to these. They're just putting them on a shelf somewhere, I guess.
I think they're just collecting them, yeah. That's funny though. I just moved. I just moved, but for the sake of our listeners, I just moved to a new house, and I had this moment where I had like literally boxes of cassette tapes from the 90s, where I'm like, what am I going to do with all this? There's no market for this. People don't want it. I don't want to like throw it away.
Well, wait a minute. I heard all that retro media was coming back because all the Gen Xers are what is the not Gen Xers? they had a bunch of cassettes already. Yeah. All the kids are sick of their music subscriptions and everything. They want an actual magnetic tape that they can. Who knows if they even know how to play them? But
I don't know. Maybe they don't know what all that entails. But yeah.
Anyway, maybe the market for them is coming back. Maybe I hope you didn't all put them in a landfill already.
No, they came with me to the new house. They're in the basement. I will move them to the next house or just bury them with me when I die.
There you go.
There. Take it to the grave. Where are we in the outline? We thanked Ray 8-Bit. My name is Randy Dickinson. This is DJ Ross.
Oh, thanks. Oh, man.
Yep.
This was a full service outro this week.
We'll be back next week with a stream of Slay the Spire. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new episode. Until then, thanks for listening to Video Game Hangover. Goodbye.
Good night.
See ya.